As a three-star athlete coming out of high school, this prospect would end up rushing for over 4,000 yards with 54 touchdowns on the ground. He would also pass for over 3,000 yards with 32 touchdowns in the air. At about 210 pounds, Zaven Collins would end up accepting the only football scholarship he was offered. The former quarterback slash safety was heading to Tulsa. Playing as the scout team's tight end his redshirt freshman year, Collins didn't get to see the field until his second year due to injury. Making the switch to linebacker, Collins would end up stacking trophies and all-team honors. Going from 210 pounds as a freshman to the 6'4", 250-plus pound beast we see today, Zaven Collins looks to go from small school to big lights in April, and he might not have to wait that long. Now be sure to hit that like, and do subscribe if you are new. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, man, and it is another one. It's Philly the podcast. So today, I want to go over Zaven Collins. I know a lot of you guys are loving the kid. He might be a little bit out of our reach just because I'm hearing he might go late day one. But if he is there, day two, early day two, he might be somebody that we're really, got our sights on, and I would not be mad at that. So, like I said earlier, he is 6'4", 256 pounds. He's projected to run around a 4.7 40, which is not bad for that size at all. Like I said, he is projected to be either an early day two pick or a late day one pick. I've been seeing teams like the Packers kind of eyeing him. Some of the scouting reports I've read from the Patriots seem like they really like him. Look, the kid's a monster, all right? So we go to how did he get here? Like, something that was funny to me, well, I don't want to say funny because he could probably whip my ass, so I won't say funny. Something that was very interesting to me was that he was a gymnast as a child. Obviously, also a multi-sport athlete in high school. I think that's kind of a theme at this point. He was a quarterback and a safety in high school. I did go over those stats, 54 touchdowns on the ground, 32 passing touchdowns. That's nothing to laugh at, like I said, quarterback and safety, but he was a first-team All-State defender in his senior year. So that's, he's always had the defense in his blood, which is something you want to see. Now, when you move to Tulsa, one thing that just stuck out to me for his whole career, he was the first unanimous All-American in Tulsa since 1965. So shout out to him. That is incredible. You know what I'm saying? That is great. And shout out to all these guys. The last three people that I've went over, they all graduated. Okay? That's something I want you guys to hear again. They all graduated. They are college grads. So no matter what happens come April, they are okay. So shout out to them. That is the way to go. And God bless them. I love to see it. So back to football. So obviously he did not play his freshman year. He was redshirted. He did play tight end on the scout team, which was kind of cool to see. He started the next season. He only started 10 games. He was in 12 games. He came in because of injury. So he came into the linebacking position, obviously changed his position to the linebacking position. And in 10 games, he was named freshman All-American, 85 tackles, 9.5 for loss, 1.5 sack, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups. So he came out and he balled year one. Now we hop on over to his redshirt sophomore year. This year he was able to really start all the games, really break out. He did make second team All-American. Now let's go over his stats. Like I said, 12 starts, 106 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss. Just a great year. But if you look at the tackles and the tackles for loss, obviously just continued the trend with 9.5, which you love to see, but he also upped that tackle count. Now, if you switch to his redshirt junior year, this is when it really starts picking up for him. Won a lot of awards this year, did a lot of great things this year. So his redshirt junior year, he was able to start 12 games. Again, 106 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss again, 2 sacks, 3 pass breakups. Now this is the year he broke that 1965 drought. He won first team All-American, again, the first player to do it from Tulsa since 1965. Incredible to me. He was the AAC Defensive Player of the Year, and he won the Bronco Nagurski and Chuck Bednarik Award. Now, if you're if you're an Eagles fan, come on, man, you know who Chucky is. He won those awards, and I believe he won the Bednarik Award over the likes of Devontae Smith and Trevor Lawrence. And I believe there was somebody else that was up for it, but those were the 2 names that stood out to me. So his junior year is really when he broke out. Obviously, 2020 was a weird season for everyone, but honestly, he's one of probably the few people that benefited from 2020. We'll go over his stats there. Obviously, only 8 games that he was able to play that year, 53 tackles. So a little bit of a drought if you're looking at, not drought, but a little bit of a step back if you look at projection. I don't think he would have hit 106 in 12 games. Might have, maybe not. Probably not, if I'm being honest. You got 4 games to get almost 50, 60 tackles. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it. 50 tackles. 53 tackles he would have had to get in 4 games. Do you think maybe he might have. Anyways, 11 and a half tackles for loss. So 4 less games, and he's able to put up two more tackles for loss. Huge. 4 sacks, so 2 more sacks, 4 interceptions. And 2 of those were pick sixes. Now, if you go back to his game against Tulane, he had a 96-yard touchdown, pick 6. That was a walk-off in overtime. So, I mean, if you want to talk about clutch, it doesn't get more clutch than that. But it doesn't stop there. He had 2 pass breakups, and he also had a blocked kick. This past year, I should say, he did not play in his bowl game. He elected to just kind of take the time off and get into the shape for the combine and everything coming up. Can't blame him. So that's his career. I really like this kid. If you watch this kid, he is just consistent production, consistent, in his play game, play to play, game to game. You don't see much fall off, and you don't see, if anything, he's just getting better, right? So we go over his strengths and his weaknesses real quick. His strengths: he has consistent production. Like I said, he's just every year he's put up 100, plus tackles, except for obviously his 2020 year that he wasn't able to. But when he played 12 games, he was giving you 106 tackles. He was giving you those tackles for loss. He was, he was definitely a productive player in his time. And then you go to his size and athleticism. It is off the charts. It is absolutely off the charts. I told you about all the different positions he played, even going back to him being a gymnast. This is not something that he lost. He was able to gain about 50 pounds of pure, I don't want to say of pure muscle, but and he gained 50 pounds and was still able to keep most of that athleticism, most of that, strength and agility and speed. So that's something you love to see. And to tie off of that, he has that sideline to sideline speed. He has that recovery speed that, if he's having to chase a running back from behind pause, he can do that. He has the speed to do that. If he makes a mental mistake, he also has that recovery speed to fix it. Now, another thing that he does very well, which helps him in the run game, is that he reads blocking schemes and he attacks those, deficiencies or holes very well. It's something very important. He's decent in zone. He plays disciplined. That helps him, and it kind of hurts him because it's like, you kind of want your guy to, especially at the middle linebacker position, you kind of want somebody that plays off a little bit of instinct. So if something happens in front of him, he's quick to be there. He has quick twitch, but he's very disciplined. So I see games where he'd rather stay in his assignment, which makes sense, than maybe go make a play that he possibly could because of his speed and athleticism. But you can't really take that away from him. He plays within the system. I'm not mad at that. And the kid can hit. I mean, it's plain and simple. That kid can hit. And then some of his weaknesses. I think this weakness, if you've watched the other 2, this is kind of I'm going to keep droning on this. I feel like this is something that you learn as you continuously play. But he has to fix his tackling angles, his pursuit angles. Sometimes he either over pursues, which reminds me a little bit of Michael Kendricks, or he's taking the wrong angle. So he doesn't try to cut the running back off. We've all played Madden. We've all, played football in real life, and we all know what a tackling angle is. So that's something I want to see him get better at. And, I said he is strong against the blocks. you know, he can take on some blockers, but I want to see him put on not put on a little bit more weight, excuse me. I want him to see him get better with his hands as a pass rusher and as someone just trying to disengage from those blocks. He has the strength, you know, to disengage from blockers and to fight through blocks, but there are times where I don't see him using his hands to fight through. You can get in trouble that way, especially against, you know, some of these seasoned veterans at even tight end. You know, these guys can block, so that's something I want to see him get better at. Now, this guy is probably the best middle linebacker prospect in this draft, and I say that even over Micah. I like Micah, but I don't know if he's, you know, necessarily a purebred middle linebacker. I'm sure people would disagree with me. I love Micah, but I think that this guy is more of a middle linebacker, right? But that goes with saying that he's not much of an edge rusher. You know, outside of his last year, which he had 4 sacks, he didn't consistently give you that sack total. He wasn't consistently a guy that got QB pressures, okay? So I'm not saying he's terrible at it. I'm not saying he can't be a pass rusher. I'm just saying that's not necessarily what he was asked to do. So that's something to remember. And, you know, talent is talent. But he played in Tulsa. You know, it is what it is. I'm not, you know, nothing against Tulsa, nothing against, you know, that the teams that he had to play against, but it is Tulsa. At the end of the day, he played in Tulsa. So take that for what you will. I think he's still very talented. I think, you know, like I said, talent is talent. But you do have to keep that in mind. So, and then the last thing is, honestly, I just want to see him get mean. I want to see him get an angry streak. You know, I feel like he's a very disciplined, like I said, very hard worker, very humble. But you see that a little bit too much on the field, and I'm one of those guys. I just want to see you. I want to see you get pissed. I want to see you throw a helmet on the sideline when things don't go right. So, I love this kid. What do I think he can be? I have to agree with scouts, man. I really do believe he can maybe push into that late first round, maybe even high as the Patriots at number 15, depending on how much they really like this kid. You know, like I said, I've read a lot of different scouting reports, watched a little bit of the film myself. So I like this kid a lot. I think if he's there in the second round at pick number 6 for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's got to be a very strong consideration, unless you went, you know, and got Micah Parsons in the first round, which I highly doubt. This got to be a guy you're looking at. So you guys let me know what you think of Zaven Collins and maybe who you want me to do next. Do you want me to switch positions? Do you want me, you know, pause. Do you want me to change positions on the field? Do you want me to change the group that I'm looking at? Or do you want me to go over more linebackers? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, other than that, y'all know what it is. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace.
Everywhere. This is for you.
Fly Eagles fly on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.